so happy we alive.
Scary ladies in Spain, my baby pushed me out in the rain. Wherever a raindrop is just another tear in my heart. White horses, scary ladies in Spain, her voice followed me out in the rain, telling me I could come back to her when I dried up my heart. And I would rather be lost in a storm in Madrid, chasing pure white horses, pulling empty cabs. And a little take a hold of my heart again. Senoritas polish my silver spurs, Venus saddles with hard-living curves.
Here for about 6 years. There are ways of holding on by letting go. There are ways of gaining ground by going slow. Like you're dangling in the darkness, it might comfort you to know there are ways of holding on by letting go. There are ways of standing tall by bending low. I recall these words of wisdom from long ago. When the world sees only weakness, oh, you're wise enough to know there are ways of standing tall by bending low.
Breathing and talking with right now, it's mostly nitrogen. So it's actually in many ways very similar to Earth's atmosphere. And the reason you can't see the surface is from space, though, is not the atmosphere, it's the smog. It's covered in smog. I mean, it makes Los Angeles look like Louisville, but it's just the smog planet. But so that's why we've had such trouble seeing the surface. But what's cool about all that smog, I mean, that may not sound very appealing to you, but it's organic material. Is what we're made out of, is what that smog is, and it's drizzling down, it's raining organic molecules on the surface of Titan. And so those of us who do astrobiology, which is kind of my sort of sub-specialty, it's not really a specialty, it's more of a whatever the opposite of specialty is.
A combination of biology and
it's
biology on other planets?
Yeah, astrobiology is this cross-disciplinary study of life on other planets. And, because there's biology, there's astronomy, there's Earth history, there's even philosophy involved. It's sort of a new movement, almost, astrobiology, that's a big part of what planetary scientists are talking about now. But from that, we're not really inclined to seek mathematical knowledge, but needed some of it to, that's sort of her specialty, which is helping people be math literate.
Right.
And she was really good at that. And my dad is a shrink,
right,
which explains why I'm such a head case, I'm sure. And his specialty, though, as you know, Patrick, is drugs of abuse, and he's taken some stands that got him got him in hot water to some extent in the academy, which of course means he is on to something. And basically he's been involved in the drug reform movement and marijuana legalization and medical marijuana legalization movements, in a sense, since their inception.
I mean, it is an intentional boycott of the message. People think that America maintains its freedom because it has an open marketplace for ideas and civil discourse about varying opinions, and
that our ability to talk it out and work it out in the political arena is what makes this country great and gives it its diversity. That's a bunch of bullshit. You know, the major media, especially recently in the last 10 years, has combined into the hands of fewer and fewer owners who are strangling the message of individual sovereignty, strangling the message of self-determination, strangling the message of being a constitutional citizen and different from the rest of the political creatures on this planet, because we're so much more privileged to be under, constitutional protection and Bill of Rights protection, and so many people on the planet don't have those documents and those concepts to help them stay free and stay free of arbitrary and fascist repression and infliction of pain. And we're going to fight you on this to the death. We're going to federal court, and then we're going to go to the streets, and then we're going to tell them what levels we're going to go to, but by God, to the death. That when I discovered through my own use that marijuana cured asthma, when my childhood asthma and my lifelong problem with asthma that I'd had all the way from child up to 21 years of age when I first tried marijuana, and it cured my asthma. When I found that out, then I sit back and I watch all these people suffering from all these ailments that I know marijuana would bring relief to. Then I consider the people who are keeping it out of their hands as being those assholes who created those big piles of bodies. And I'm not going to stand around and watch people suffer and die when I know that there's relief that God's given us coming up out of seed out of His earth that can bring them relief. I'm not going to sit around and let these assholes keep this medicine from reaching those people. I'm going to criticize them. I'm going to kick their butts every chance I get. I'm going to call them the pharma Nazis and fascists that they are. And, I'm going to be the truth teller about it. And I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them at all. And I bring them to the fore. And, I'm all out on these Nazi son of a bitches.
Okay, well, now,
Well, what we talked about, encapsulating and summarizing what we talked about earlier, and that was that the chemists and the large corporations in the petroleum industries and the petrochemical companies and the pharmaceutical companies began developing products from the synthetic cycle, stuff that didn't have to be raised off the farm, that they wanted to replace, that they wanted to use to replace those products that were being produced from the natural cycle: fiber, fuel, medicine, and increasingly food. And of course, they've been very successful at that. Today, less than 50% of the fiber is grown off the land anywhere around the world. And, cotton accounts for the biggest part of that, and it's very intensive, needs chemicals and chemicals on it to grow. Fuel, it's all monopolized by the petrochemical companies, international oil companies. Medicine, it's all monopolized by the synthetic pharmaceutical industry. If you go into a grocery store and look at the ingredients on a package, you'll find out how rapidly our farmers are being displaced from their heritage of food production. Grown on the natural cycle with items now that are produced from the synthetic cycle, was a planned economic coup on behalf of the Chemical Manufacturers Association. The Chemical Manufacturers Association, the people, the Monsantos, the Dows, the people who create all this pharmaceutical stuff and all this petrochemical plastic age, synthetic age, they have criminalized the farmers competing with them by growing natural plants out of the soil. And so that has redirected trillions of dollars, trillions and trillions of dollars out of the agrarian society, out of the agrarian economy, out of that flow of money from the land that is a natural wealth-spreading mechanism. When land is a wealth-producing mechanism, it naturally spreads it out amongst a lot of people. And so all that money that used to flow from the land with those products up to the villages and the small towns and up to the cities and the major metropolises, and then started flowing back down, all that agrarian society and economy is gone. And look at all the empty storefronts in our small towns. Look at all the farms up for sale. You can't make a living out of being a farmer anymore. You got to have another job. You got to have real love for the land. It's almost anti-American. The Jeffersonian model of everybody having some small land or some land to tend or to take care of and nurture was supposed to help keep the politically diverse and politically self-sufficient, sovereign individual American citizens all that given the corporate takeover of the land and the monopoly on the production and distribution of the basic commodities of civilization. Corporate edict by legislative fiat, they did it by putting Congress in their pockets, by buying them off, by putting extraordinary money into the political parties. And both political parties, which used to be our protections against these things, against these kinds of monsters, have all been bought off by the people that I term the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, transnational, corporate, fascist, elite son of a bitches. And that's why our both two candidates in the last election both belonged to the skull and bones